Morning everyone, I am Lady T. Cabanting and my partner, Sheena D. Magdadaro. We are going to present to you about the social, political, economic, and cultural issues in the Philippine history. In this lesson, we are going to analyze certain issues in the Philippines using lens of the history. We are going to recognize the problems of today that are the consequences of decisions and events that happened in the past. We are able to develop understanding of the issues in the Philippine society through history, and we are able to propose recommendations or solutions to present-day problems based on the understanding of the past and anticipation of the future through the study of history. But before that, let's have a word puzzle game. Who wants to guess certain words that may refer to our discussion? Anyone? What's in your mind? Well, that's correct. Our topic for today about lesson 1 evolution of the Philippines. What is evolution? What is revolution? And what is a constitution? Evolution. It is the process by which new species or populations of living things develop from pre-existing forms through successive generations, meaning it is a process of gradual changes that takes place over many generations. While the revolution, it is a change in a way a country is governed, usually to a different political system and often using violence or war. Constitution is defined as a set of fundamental principles or established models according to which state or other organization is governed. Thus, the word itself means to be a part of a whole, the coming together of distinct entities into one group, with the same principles and ideals. These principles define the nature and extent of government, meaning the Constitution provides the basis and needs are addressed. It determines how laws are made and the details the process by which the government rules. It is very important to establish a constitution to protect us and our rights as a human, such as freedom of religion, the press, the rights to education, and especially the rights to our country. There are many constitutions in the Philippines that was ratified. That includes the 1897 Biak na Bato and the 1899 Malolos Constitution. The 1897 Biak na Bato Constitution was the second revolutionary republican government led by Emilio Aguinaldo during the Philippine Revolution that referred to itself as the Republic of the Philippines. Biak na Bato Constitution provided for the establishment of a Supreme Council that would serve as the highest governing body of the Republic. It also outlined certain basic human rights such as freedom of religion, freedom of the press, and the right to education. It was written by Felix Ferrer and Isabelo Artacho, who copied the Cuban Constitution of Jimaguagyo. Nearly word for word, it provided for the creation of the Supreme Council, which was created on that day, with the following officers having been elected. The organs of the government was under the Constitution of, first, the Supreme Council, that consists President, 4 department secretaries, Interior, Foreign Affairs, Treasury, and War. The second, the Consejo Supremo de Gracia y Justicia, which is the Supreme Council of Grace and Justice. And the third one, the Asamblea de Representantes, or the Assembly of Representatives. In 1896, the Philippine Revolution began as a rebellion against brutal Spanish colonial rule. Did you know that the Spanish invaded us to acquire a share in the spice trade and to develop contacts with China and Japan in order to further Christian missionary efforts and to convert Filipinos to Christianity? On November 1st, 1897, Emilio Aguinaldo along with several revolutionaries convened a citizens' assembly in order to draft a provincial constitution for the Philippines, which has come to be known as the Constitution of Biak na Bato. The main reason for our rebellion because of the land problems, and this was largely the cause of the insurrections that transpired in the agricultural provinces of Batangas, Bulacan, Cavite, and Laguna. Natives also rebelled over unjust taxation and forced labor. By the end of 1887, Governor General Primo de Rivera desired to make peace with Aguinaldo. He sent emissaries to Aguinaldo seeking a peaceful settlement. Nothing was accomplished until Pedro Paterno, a Spaniard born in the Philippines and a lawyer from Manila, volunteered to act as a negotiator to end the clashes. On December 14, 1887, the Pact of Biak-na-Bato was signed by General Emilio Aguinaldo and Spanish Governor General Fernando Primo de Rivera to provisionally stop the armed conflict between the Filipinos and the Spaniards. Don Pedro Alejandro Paterno was appointed by Spanish Governor General as sole mediator in the discussion of the terms of peace. As a sign of agreement between Aguinaldo and Spanish forces, a ceasefire was declared by both camps, effectively ending the Republic of Biak-na-Bato. They concluded the Constitution of Biak-na-Bato was never fully implemented since a truce. The Pact of Biak-na-Bato was signed between the Spanish and the Philippine Revolutionary Army. Then, the Pact of Biak-na-Bato failed because the Filipinos and the Spaniards did not trust each other. As a result, periodic clashes between the two groups still took place even after Aguinaldo's departure from the country. The Spanish did not pay the entire agreed amount. And this continues. In April 1898, the Spanish-American War broke out. The U.S. Navy's Asiatic Squadron, then in Hong Kong, sailed to the Philippines to engage the Spanish naval forces. The reasons for war were many, but there were two immediate ones: America's support, the ongoing struggle by Cubans and Filipinos against Spanish rule, and the mysterious explosion of the battleship USS Maine in Havana Harbor. On May 1st, 1898, the U.S. Navy decisively defeated the Spanish Navy in the Battle of Manila Bay. Aguinaldo returned to the Philippines on May 24, and on that date, proclaimed a dictatorial government. It was formally established by decree on June 18, following the American victory at the Battle of Manila Bay. Aguinaldo returned to the Philippines, issued the Declaration of Independence on June 12, 1898, and proclaimed a successive revolutionary of that year. In December 1898, Spain and the United States signed the 1898 Treaty of Paris, ending the Spanish-American War. And as a part of the treaty, Spain gave up the Philippines to the United States. The treaty was not formally proclaimed until April 11, 19,000, when ratification were exchanged. In the meantime, the Malolos Constitution was established.
The 1899 Malolos Constitution, the Malolos Congress was elected, which selected a commission to draw up a draft constitution on September 17, 1898, which was composed of wealthy and educated men. The document they came up with approved by the Congress on November 29, 1898, and promulgated by Aguinaldo on January 21, 1899. It was titled the Political Constitution of 1899, and it was written in Spanish language. The Constitution has 39 articles divided into 14 titles with 8 articles of transitory provision and a final additional article.
The document was patterned after the Spanish Constitution of 1812, with influences from the charters of Belgium, Mexico, Brazil, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and Guatemala, and the French Constitution of 1793.
According to Felipe Calderon, the main author of the Constitution, these countries were studied because they shared similar social, political, ethnological, and governance conditions with the Philippines.
Prior constitutional projects in the Philippines also influenced the Malolos Constitution, namely the Kartilya and the Sangguniang Hukuman, the Charter of Laws and Morals of the Katipunan written by Emilio Jacinto in 1896, the Biak-na-Bato Constitution of 1897 that planned by Isabelo Artacho, and the Mabini's Constitutional Program of the Philippine Republic of 1898, the Provincial Constitution of Mariano Ponce in 1898 that followed the Spanish Constitution, and the Autonomy Projects of Paterno in 1898. In simpler terms, this means that when creating a new constitution for the Philippines, different documents from various countries were studied to see what worked best for their country.
Primary sources Preamble of the Political Constitution of 1899. We, the representative of the Filipino, lawfully convene in order to establish justice, provide for common defense, promote the general welfare, and ensure the benefit of liberty, imploring the aid of sovereign legislator of the universe for the attainment of these ends, have vote, deserve, and sanction the following political constitution.
The purpose of the Constitution is to specifically provide for safeguards against abuses and enumerated the national and individual rights not only of the Filipinos and of the aliens. The legislative powers were exercised by the Assembly of Representatives composed of delegates elected according to the law.
The form of government according to Title II, Article 4 is popular, representative, alternative, and responsible, and shall exercise three distinct powers: legislative, executive, and judicial. The legislative power was vested in a unicameral body called the Assembly of Representative Members of which are elected of term for 4 years. Secretaries of the government were given seats in assembly which meet annually for a period of at least 3 months. Bills could be introduced either by the president or by a member of assembly. Some powers not legislative in nature were also given to the body, such the right of impeaching the president, cabinet member, the chief justice of Supreme Court, and solicitor general. A permanent commission of 7, elected by assembly and granted specific powers by the Constitution, was to sit during interval between session of assembly. Executive power was vested in the president and elected by a constituent assembly of representatives, especially representatives. The president will serve a term of 4 years without re-election. There was no vice president, and in case of a vacancy, a president was to be selected by the Constituent Assembly.
The history of the past, especially the constitutions that was established in Philippine history, there are so many issues regarding the social, political, economic, and cultural issues. And this was the issues. The Filipino was betrayed by Spain. Pedro Paterno was a traitor. The Filipinos was ruled brutally during the Spanish colony, and there are no progress in Philippines by the hands of the Spaniards. It gives a bad effects to all Filipinos. The negative effects. The primary disadvantages were the Filipino peoples being treated as second-class citizens, forced to work on plantations or mines for the Spanish overlords, while the Spanish forced the natives to follow their language and religion or else face punishment. And then the positive effect. The advantages of colonization in the Philippines included a number of modernizations ranging from roads to capital cities to universities, as well as the accumulation of wealth that flowed into the islands as they were opened up the international trade. In our own perspective, the history of the past, especially the constitution that was established, had a reason and made us of what we are today. The importance is to have built our rights as a Filipino and as a human being, respect and being united as nation. I am Lady T. Cabanting.
And I am Shanna M. Magdalena.